Welcome, welcome. It's time for another edition of the Black Belt Newscast. We are live. I'm Cindy Fisher, publisher.
I'm Todd Prater, staff writer.
Yep, we're coming to you from Dallas County this week.
Yeah,
We have so much. It's a very meaty episode, so you guys
it is. A lot of stuff to talk
hang
about.
on.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, we're going to launch in. It is July 12th, Friday. We like to come to you guys at noon. You can always make suggestions. Let us know if you prefer a different time, but that's the way we've been doing it. And I always like to say that our stories are on blackbeltnewsnetwork.com. This is where we're getting most of our content. We also have it in the print edition of Selma Sun, which you can see at selmasun.com. You can send your news to us at news@blackbeltnewsnetwork.com. We will see that. A lot of stuff, we do get a lot of story ideas from there because we can't be everywhere in the Black Belt. We're growing so that we can, which we have news about that at the end. So stay tuned to some breaking news about the Black Belt News Network. So sign up for our daily newsletter. This is the best way to know what's going on in the Black Belt, is to get our daily news. It's free. All you do is give your email. We don't spam you. We just send you news and headlines. You will know what's going on in your community and how to get in touch with us, which is always important. And you can make comments on wherever you're watching us right now, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, and we will see those comments. And today I'm going to experiment by leaving some websites in our comments that you guys can see that go along with the stories that we're going to talk about, so that you can access more information and get some additional facts and figures from this other website that we may not have at blackbeltnewsnetwork.com. So let's give this a try. Let's see what we've got going on this week. This was a very well-attended event this week. We're going to spend some time on the Alabama River. And
Yes.
the Selma Marina had some improvements that were finished up. So tell me about that.
Well, it started about 2 years ago. The Selma Marina, they put a new dock, and they just finished up that right there, a brand new way station pavilion for fishing tournaments. Now, of course, the whole thing came about because of that man right there, Mr. Tim Wood, who is not only the general manager at the Central Alabama Farmers Co-op, but he's also a member of the Department of Conservation Advisory Board. Excuse me. And he is also a member of the AWF. And he explained that when the Alabama Wildlife Federation's Wild Game Cook-Off Series, everybody, all the 13 local teams decided to donate money to Selma to improve the marina. It just snowballed. We got a grant from the state. We got the city matched the grant. The governor threw in money. Everybody threw in some money, and it ended up being about a $600,000 project for the new dock, the new weight pavilion, and now we are set up. That pavilion actually has a cement pad, Cindy, that is strong enough to support an 18-wheeler, so professional fishing tournaments, bass tournaments, crappie tournaments, any kind of professional tournament can come in. They can park their big trucks and use that station for the weigh-in station. They also renovated the restrooms, so the whole marina has been landscaped, renovated, and it's ready for professional fishing tournaments, as well as recreational boaters up and down the Alabama River. It's a good place for them to stop between Montgomery and Miller's Ferry. And, of course, Chris Blankenship, the head of the Department of Conservation, was there. And you saw the mayor. Senator Stewart was there. Chuck Sykes, who's the head of Wildlife Freshwater Fisheries. We had representatives from Alabama Power, Aubrey, Freddie Padilla. It was a who's who of outdoors royalty, as Big Daddy would say, who, by the way, helped Tim Woods figure out how to deal with the government grant system to get the money. So this is another Big Daddy project.
Yes, and it's through the boating infrastructure grant, which
Right.
Roland Cooper used, Bridgeport used.
And
It is.
It was
Oh, and
very
Demopolis Landing is amazing. So
right, exactly.
we
Demopolis
are
and Roseau.
blessed to have this in our community.
And it was,
Can't wait to see what happens.
everybody, it was huge. Now, part of that is not just the marina, but the big picture is developing the riverfront for economic development,
Right.
bringing in tourist dollars. But the other part of it is the riverbank stabilization, and of course that ribbon cutting was this week as well, out at the amphitheater. And the part of the riverbank stabilization project, it's called Project 14, Selma 14 project. There's the mayor again talking about the project, and he's got folks from the Army Corps of Engineers who actually did the work. And the problem is the river was eroding the bank. That right there is Mr. Fred Burks from the Corps of Engineers, and he explained that when they realized the erosion was undermining the sidewalks and undermining the bank, they came in and regraded it. They put a cement mat and stabilized about 250 feet yards of the bank. Now that's the first phase of this project. That one was like $1.7 million, just that bit right there. There's more planned all the way down to the Selma Marina. According to the mayor, that's around a $40 million project. He's already been speaking with the Army Corps of Engineers. They're already doing some sampling and studies to figure out how to go from this particular point of the project all the way down to the marina on the other side of the bridge. And the reason that's important is not only are we losing the riverbank and we want to use it for economic development, but some of the historic buildings are in danger of falling into the river if we don't stabilize that bank. So that project is well underway. It's obviously a lot of years in the works, but it is underway, and all part of developing the riverfront for not just Selma, for Dallas County and for the Black Belt in general, to help the economic development of this area.
Which we did a story last week on our newscast about the boardwalk that you were mentioning, the $40 million. That's going to have a municipal complex to
Right.
it. They're going to try to public-private partner with a hotel so that they can do conventions and even have banquet space of 12,000 square feet that could fit a certain number of people, so that we stop losing people going to Montgomery, but maybe stay here for some of their at least mid-sized conferences. And I think that's a great idea, especially if there's going to be something really nice to walk at night. And it also has a component, a phase 2, that will give you river access. So that one could be another 2 years away, but that could be similar to the Montgomery riverbank, where they have river boats that leave from there, and also rentals of canoes and kayaks. And I love that idea of access to the river.
Exactly. And it's so important in this area because it's such a prevalent natural resource and we're not using it well enough, but that is.
Yeah. I could see Demopolis Landing having some access to that. They have 2 different rivers than ours. I mean, it's a very water heavy area here in the Black Belt. We're so blessed. So let's move over to Demopolis. There was a really important meeting last night.
Right. And speaking of economic development, again, it's bringing economic development to West Alabama. It was at the Wallace Community College Demopolis meeting center there. It was the West Alabama Highway Corridor meeting. This was actually a get-together for the general public, for the citizens of West Alabama, and it's one of many. That's Mayor Sheldon Day on the left from Thomasville, and Jeff Emerson from Brassfield Glory, who is the construction company that's doing this project. And they were there to tell people about what's going on. What does this corridor mean, the economic development that it'll bring. And it's happening. Mayor Day was saying, there's some folks in the legislature that were wanting to spend these Rebuild Alabama development dollars on I-65. He said, to alleviate the pressure of I-65, it's smarter, instead of adding lanes, to develop a second corridor. Not only that, but it brings the economic development to West Alabama, which is an underserved part of the state. And in the law for the Rebuild Alabama, it specifically says that the money should be spent to help underserved, economically underdeveloped areas of the state. So Mayor Day was touting the fact that this is a great idea, and it is. And there's some folks from Brassville Gorey explaining what was going on. And he says a lot of these people were there because they had been promised this project for 50 years, and they didn't believe it was actually happening, but it is actually happening. And all the information, if you want more information, we're going to have a story in next edition of the paper and
we
online.
will in the print edition, and we'll put it on blackbeltnewsnetwork.com. I just put up a link in our comments to the website because it includes how to get to the list of job availability, because there's 700 jobs, construction jobs, that are going to be tied to this project. And last time we reported on this, I personally got a million phone calls from people like, how do I apply for that job? Like, I know. So I want to send everybody to this westalabamahighway.com, because I don't know, but
and not only that, but Mr. Emerson was telling me that there's also an interactive map on that site, so that if you want to see exactly the route, but all the rights of way have been purchased. Right. The rights of way are there. They're doing studies to find out exactly how to build what on what soils and things like that. Mayor Day said that the demolition, for the most part, in most of the sections, has already started. The clearing of the way. So by 2025, August of 2025, there will be numerous sections of the highway already under construction at that point.
Yeah, I want to add too that the nice thing about having this corridor, that the funding kind of got iffy for a little while because there was push to put the money over to 65 because of coming from the beach. But I grew up going 43 to get to the beach from Tuscaloosa. So it will alleviate traffic by having more people on that corridor. And I also want to add that talking to folks in Demopolis, a lot of them are kind of like a little unsure that because it's not really 43, a lot of the part through them is 69.
Right.
It leads to Greensboro. So it's an interesting corridor that's been sliced in, but also a lot of talk around town about who, farmers, et cetera, that have had to give up or sell land in order to be a part of this widening. It's great that it's there. So let's let that take the process, because the idea also is that you can have distribution improvement for economic development of something that could come in and need distribution centers, and it will get supplies to the Black Belt better.
Not just distribution centers, but the Mobile is becoming one of the largest port in the Gulf, and they're shipping a lot of items out. And this gives them a second corridor, because it'll be 4 lanes from Thomasville to Moundville now, and then they're actually. There are plans in the future to 4-lane even further north to help distribute goods all over the country from Mobile. So
let's switch over to Perry County and talk about some growth plans or possibilities over there.
More economic development. There was a meeting this week about Vaden Field. Donald Bennett, who is the president of the Vaden Field Board, was telling everybody in the general public what's going on with Vaden Field. Previous boards have made some financial decisions that were questionable, and the Vaden Field Airport Authority is in kind of a financial dire straits, so to speak. And the current board is working hard to get them out of this situation so that the field can become more profitable, because ultimately the plan that Mr. Bennett was talking about, that's one of the hangars that's out there. The plan is to take some of the acreage and open it up to development for industry, for distribution centers, because you've got an airport. You've got not far from there, you have Highway 80. And of course, with the West Alabama corridor coming, Highway 80 is a direct link to that corridor. And of course, the other direction, it takes you to Montgomery and 65. So it's a great place for some industry to locate. But they've got to get out of this financial trouble that they had gotten into, and they're working hard. And he was reporting on that process and the fact that they are working hard to get to where they need to be at this point. They still got a little ways to go, but things are looking better for Vaden Field. And hopefully in the near future, they'll be able to open up to more development. And you saw the airplane fueling up. They've got the fuel station.
That is a big feat. because they did not have that for many years and had to do a lot to get that going again. So
Right,
very
exactly.
happy for, Marion Military Institute does use that often for their flight school, and the Air Force Academy each summer, which that may be over for the summer this year, but that one brings in a lot of students as well. So, make sure to sign up for our daily newsletter. This is how we will be sharing a lot of these stories that we are talking about now are on blackbeltnewsnetwork.com, but you can get a free email every single day and find out what's going on, including these stories, and just click to it. It's super easy.
And you can find out things that are coming up too, because one of the things that Donald Bennett said is they're going to have another fly-in the fall.
And that was a lot of fun. I've been to several of those.
Yeah, those are fun. But we're going to be sure to let you know when that's coming up, because everybody's going to want to go see that. There'll be airplanes from all over coming in.
All right. Let's switch over to water. Boca Chico had a water project that has completed. Tell us about it.
This has been going on for 10 plus years, getting the Boca Chico area hooked up to clean, potable, drinkable, safe water. And for years, this community has had to use well water that was questionable. Some of it downright dangerous. And that is Miss Maggie Peterson. She's the head of the West Alabama Water Authority. And that, of course, is Devoy Gordon, who is the local USDA representative. And this project was funded by USDA to hook 70 plus homes to city water, basically county water, and get them clean drinking water. Those are little coffee mugs. This is a great idea for folks that had question as to how to get their water turned on, and any questions about the system, because they just got this completed. They had a question and answer session as part of this ceremony, but those coffee cups they gave to the citizens of the community. They have the phone number to call if you have a problem with your water. So it's easy. They don't have to remember. It's right there on the coffee cup. So I thought that was a great idea.
That is a good idea.
Citizens, if they have any questions, the questions are answered. The various companies involved were there to solve any problems or to take notes and know who they need to go visit to fix leaks. There's some issues with pressure, the difference in the well water pressure and the system water pressure. So they were talking about how to work all that out. So they're working very hard to get that done. But finally, Boca Chico has clean water to drink, and they don't have to.
Which is crazy, but this is an issue throughout the Black Belt.
Throughout the Black Belt, that there are areas. We just recently did a story on the H2 system.
That's right.
They wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for the fact that people need clean wells.
And they are helping identify well locations. And that, we have written about this and reported on this a lot in the Black Belt, and also with sewer systems. Infrastructure is an issue down here. We're letting it crumble and not maintaining it like we should down here. So it's good to bring some attention to it. And also when it's going really well. So let's switch over to talk a little bit about Selma talking about some redistricting. The mayor has presented a plan to redistrict using the 2020 census and movement and folks and people. Right now we have 8 districts and representatives. He is proposing that we go to 5. It is something that has come up before and been discussed before because, it's a city of 17,000 people. There's a really great, my dad who covers Selma City, Brad Fisher, did a really great redistricting story that's very meaty. He called the League of Municipalities. He called professors. That's what we do when we have, he has 50 years of experience in journalism. So, there's Selma's son right there. I know that office. When we have this kind of experience, we're going to go get the information for you. But the districts are, changing in their population and size. So we'll see what happens with that. But the mayor has been hosting 5 meetings, community meetings, and talking about also a plan to increase property taxes. So And the redistricting has come up at these meetings as well. And he's doing a listening session, basically. So go to selmasun.com and blackbeltnewsnetwork.com. And you can see a lot more about what we've been talking about with the redistricting and the plans for which is new. The city council was presented with this plan last Tuesday night, but no action items were made. It was a presentation that the mayor made. So we'll see if they take that. As my dad notes in the story, most of the time, the majority does not agree with the mayor with the way that the council is set up at the moment with the 8 districts. So it may not go anywhere. But just kind of throwing that out there. All right. Now let's do a little Black Belt Roundup. This is where we do some really quick hits on other things going on in the Black Belt we may not have video on and won't do a big discussion, but I do want to do a little discussion on the first item, which is the closure of the labor and delivery department at Grove Hill Memorial Hospital. They changed their designation to be a rural hospital, and in that change of designation, they're dropping that department. It has happened. Whitfield did not have an OB unit for a good 5 years. They brought theirs back several years ago, although they did have to close it for the summer because they lost their physician that was the head of it. But a new one has been hired but can't start till September 1st. So it is not unusual in the Black Belt and in our rural communities for OB to be one of the first medical services to be dropped. It also brings to light issues that how do we best take care of ourselves and our residents healthcare wise without having to drive an hour away. Labor and delivery is one of those. At least with my second kid, I would not have made it an hour to the next facility. She just would have been born in the car. So when that happens,
that's not unusual at all.
But they're not. But I would not be delivering her if I was in Grove Hill at this point. Right. When it ends August 16th or 19th, the OB service. But what do we do for women? Healthcare is actually a big topic because women make the decision on where we get all of our services. So if you have a really good, that's why the competition in Birmingham has been so big with St. Vincent's, which is where I had my daughter, and Brookwood and all of them, and UAB, trying to make these really great women's center services, because once we love it there, we're going to take all of our healthcare there, and they'll get us for oncology and nephrology and everything else that we may need. But you don't see that in the Black Belt because not only do we struggle to hire people, but it's expensive to run healthcare, and Medicaid has not been expanded. So don't get me on the soapbox about that one.
I was born in St. Vincent's Hospital in Birmingham too.
Yeah,
long before any of these women's clinics.
And I mean, they're hardwood floors and they're really nice, but that you don't see that in the Black Belt, and it's a tough one.
But this right here, what we're talking about right this moment, is a prime example, if I may refer back to stories we've done in weeks prior, to why we need that healthcare high school in the Black Belt.
That's right, because hopefully they'll come here.
Some of these
services. They'll learn in a rural healthcare environment and hopefully stay, or at least see the benefit of being in a smaller hospital.
Yeah, exactly, and that was bringing it here.
Yes, and it's supposed to open in 2026. So we'll see. They've got to build the dorm and the buildings, and it will be connected to Whitfield Hospital. So we've really enjoyed covering and following the growth of that. Scoring that hospital for Demopolis was a big deal, and it's really and
healthcare is a big deal anyway, especially in the Black Belt, again, where we're underserved.
We are. All right. Selma University got $750,000 this week from Terry Sewell through her efforts to renovate Foster Hall. And just a quickie on that one, because they have received $500,000 for Dinkins Hall. They've gotten $750 for another one. If you go to blackbeltnewsnetwork.com, you'll see the list. I mean, they have been really getting it through the president, Stan Angian. He sent me a note to say what his quote wanted to be about how excited he was about getting the funds and they have increased. And we've done several stories about how they've added more students. They're kind of a heavy pastoral related, but they also offer other. I know at least one kid was a biology major. So, I mean, there's other things they offer there. Right.
But, you know, he brought that school from sanctions back to prominence, and he's really done a great job to bring them back and make them such a viable school. So it's good to see that right here in Dallas County in the Black Belt.
I just want to mention, so 2 things for the Black Belt News Network. So I was inducted as president of the Rotary Club here in Selma. And so we hope to, if you have ideas well, first of all, if you want to be a member, join. It's a civic organization that we love doing volunteer hands-on work in the community. Service above self is what we call it, and is our motto. So we do cozy dogs at the fair, Central Alabama Fair, every year, and that's coming up end of October, early November. And just, we are in your community. You know, we're right here. We live with you guys. We live it alongside you. We know what it means to have to go to Birmingham or Tuscaloosa for a doctor appointment, or to go to Home Depot. You know, we want the Black Belt to grow as much as you guys do. So anyway, wanted to throw that out there. And I also wanted to share some big news. The Black Belt News Network has big news. We have become a hybrid nonprofit. So we now have an element of nonprofit to our business, and we can take donations and we can get grants. And we've been getting grants for a little while, but we do it through partners. And now we'll be able to get grants on our own. And it's exciting because it's a financial way for us to be stable and stick with you guys here in the Black Belt as we grow. And we are adding a donation button to the website soon. Let me add, I was going to add the donation page is live as of midweek. I just did it. So, you know, if you want to make donations or send somebody to this donation page, that is where it is. You can give and support us. Is the best way to keep us going. We through that have a, you know, $7 a month. You know, if you're doing Netflix and really care about having that available, you care about having this service available. All you have to do is $7 a month, and you can help us continue to bring news to the Black Belt. All right. When you've got big news to share, send it to news@blackbeltnewsnetwork.com. Sign up for our daily newsletter. I've mentioned that a couple times today. Go to the website. That is where everything is. And we always use this time to thank our sponsors. Miller Funeral and Miller Funeral Services. We appreciate them so much. And one of the best things that they do is they help in your time before to give a final thoughtful gift by planning out your funeral service. And I think it's a great idea. It pre-planning helps your family, and that way you can talk with an advisor that does this all the time at Randall Miller Funeral Services. Call 334-874-9081. So if you want your ad on here, be a sponsor. It is helpful to us, and it's helpful to you because you can get in front of all of our viewers. Email news@blackbeltnewsnetwork.com if you want to be a sponsor. And another great way to get in touch with us, follow us. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We are everywhere. We want to make
Tell
sure
your
that we
family about
reach
it.
you
Tell everybody.
where you are. That is our motto. We're going to reach you where you are, whether it's here on a video or if it's in print, because we still have a print edition, if it's online at blackbeltnewsnetwork.com. So we had a meaty episode. This was almost 30 minutes. It is
Wow.
30 minutes. Yeah, we didn't mean to do that, but we had so much to tell you guys this week.
Yeah, we've been out and about all over the place.
All right. Until next week, guys, we'll be back.
Yeah, y'all have a great week. We'll see you next time.
All right. See you next Friday.